PTG, Proxy Table Gaming, Lucky Sixes is dancing.
Oh,
Hyper-G is also here.
I'm excited, Hyper G.
I mean, I am too because this is a different thing for us, isn't it? We haven't done this before.
A double.
Um, yeah, it's a double double, as some would say, because it is round five of Art of War, and we're not just going to do your battle, end report, my battle, end report, celebrate, do a little dance. We're going to merge the two round five battles together in one huge bonanza
Huge.
of fun.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
so we're going to give it a go. Let us know in the comments how you find this batrep. Hopefully it will flow to the...
Indeed, because we don't know how this is going to work out. It could be a disaster.
Yeah, good.
But the reason for it really is that we're both going into round five of the same tournament. You're on 50 points out of a possible 80, which is very, very good.
Yep.
I'm on 46 points out of a possible 80, which I'm delighted with. We're both... Well, you've already hit your 50-point target, but your target has been raised because you're playing Equitane OP.
OP, yeah.
I am currently 4 points short of my 50-point target, but I'm playing not OP Orcs and Goblins.
Exactly. So you've got to get 4, I've got to get 10. 4. We're quite close together. Anything can happen. Let's go, Idaho. Yo.
Let's see how it pans out. And where are we starting, Lucky Sixes? Because you drew up these wonderful pictures together.
Yes, well, we've got the Orcs, which you are, versus Saurians. And,
Temple Guard
we
Saurians.
We go straight into it, because it is a Temple Guard list, which I'm so excited. I think this is amazing.
This was written, wasn't it, that I would face off against Temple Guard, yeah. Mo is a relatively new player to 9th Age. I will say that now. I mean, he's doing well in this tournament because he's up on the 40-ish points. So I would say that you're not the kind of player that you would see at the bottom tables. So he's very much taken to it well and is doing well with his list. Not jealous.
Temple
Guard
got a
doing
good
well.
list, hasn't he? To be fair, so
debatable. But he has got. So let's see. Quattle Lord Evocation, not something I've really tried with the Quattle. Banner of Relentless, Crown of Autocracy for a boosted discipline, and Trained from Birth. So 5 spells on him. He's got 2 Saurian Veteran Raptors riders, which are usual cowboys, both with decent armor and killing power naturally. He's got a Skink Priest, Shamanism on just on foot actually, with the Sun Tablet. So access to all the spells in Shamanism. He's got a big block of Saurian Warriors with Serpent, which means +1 movement, which is very good, and Flaming Standard on there. 2 small units of Skink Braves, which is relatively common in core for Saurians. It's not something I particularly like, but still. Then he's got his big Temple Guard. Obviously, they've got the Rending Banner, because that's the only thing you can take on them, because you don't have a choice when you take Temple Guard. Then he's got some Pterodons, which are cool. I've had no success with them ever, even though they're very good. Then 3 Weapon Beasts. I love seeing Weapon Beasts, 2 Salamanders, and a Spearback. Then a Taurosaur with Engine of the Ancients, of course. So these are all units I'm familiar with. I very much approve of the list. It's a nice list. See
what we can do with it. Obviously, we've got your list, which we know and love.
We do indeed, yeah. Shagger and Azanax.
Pause it if you want to do it this, otherwise it's going to be a really long report.
Good point. Move on.
Which is our second battle that we want to prep you for. Obviously, again, pause it. And Zaf, you got Survivor et al.
Yeah, definitely.
And then Shane Baxter's Vampire List. Now, I've been speaking to Shane a long time. We actually played back in my first Art of War, I want to say.
Long time
he
ago.
was demons, I was high elves. He killed my dragon last ditch, and I had a sad ride home.
You did.
We've grown to be friends, and he is.
You've forgiven him.
Yes, we've forgiven him. But also, he has amazing models and shows me from time to time. And I think one of his models won best single model.
Oh yeah,
best monster.
I think it was monster actually, wasn't it, for the
which
vampire count?
We do have some close up later on, and I will point you to. But basically, he's got a Strigoi vampire on a shrieking horror 1,000-point awesomeness. Which is
it
cool,
was that model
man.
that won as well.
Really cool.
So.
Luckily, I think Survivor doesn't do too bad against him, so that's quite good.
Oh, okay.
He has another on foot courtier, on banshee, and on foot necromancer. Loads of ghouls. I've actually missed.
No, you merged them in with the banshee, I think.
Oh yes, I have. Yes, the banshee, and then some ghouls. So 3 units of ghouls, 1 unit of zombies, spectral hunters, which are interesting, look really nice. Another shrieking horror, and some winged reapers and wraiths for chaff and stuff. So really interesting. I don't have much in the way of magical attacks. The spectral stuff is a bit
iffy.
Yeah, it's just dicey. They don't have a lot of wounds, but 3 up Aegis. Yeah. So hopefully my magic will do something against them. But and obviously I want to stay well back away from the shrieking horrors as much as I can, or give them a shriek and then, as I said in the battle, charge them with the world.
Absolutely.
They're the only options I have really with those. But yes, here we go. For both of us, it was encircle and hold the center. So hold the center is quite a nice one to finish. Encircles,
it's
I
not.
guess. Encircles one of them that actually hold the center is quite a big. So
if you get the big center and first turn potentially, you can be on it turn 1. So, obviously, you didn't count from turn 1, but
the dice immediately have an impact, I guess, on this one. We'll go over to you, turn 1.
Let's do it. I know.
And this is deployment.
Indeed. Yeah, it was a really nice battle mat, actually. I really like the battle mat. Not that that's a major talking point, I guess, when we're trying to be quick. So let's go.
Really, give me a...
We've got on the top side, so left side for me, Nashers in the forest. We've got a unit of Common Orc boar boys looking to move through the forest, but not much. Then we've got a unit of Ed Bashers behind them. I don't know which is core of my units. I'm going to say that one of those Ed Basher units on the left is a core unit. The other 2 are Ed Bashers, but the ones on the wooden base are definitely common with lances. Then I've got my chariots, 3 chariots. There is a wrecking team in front of one of those boar units. You've got the Feral Orc big block in the middle, because I was just going gung-ho for that center objective. Scuttler Spider. Still, we're recording before the name suggestions, so apologies for that. Then we have the Scuttler Spider other unit moved forward. Goblin Raiders, Wrecking Team, Gargantula, and on the right-hand side, just looking to cause a flanking problem.
So you got big flanks?
I got big flanks, yes. So I was forced back in the middle. Obviously, the 2 Spider units have vanguarded. They've scouted to be there. And then for Mo, he has a Spearback on the hill and then a Salamander on the hill, in that order. Then he has his Saurian Warriors, and interestingly, one of his Cowboy Raptors is deployed in the unit of Saurian Warriors. I'd never really seen that, but they match the bases. So I guess it's viable, really. I mean, obviously, you're reducing the movement of your Cowboy to the movement of the Saurians, but they're movement 5 because of Serpent. So technically, you're only losing 2 inches on that.
Yeah, and he can always charge out on his own.
Yeah, depending on your context, losing 2 inches could be crucial. But anyway, we won't go there. You've got the Engine of the Gods in the middle on the Taurosaur, a unit of Skinks behind with the Priest in. Then you've got the Temple Guard, Salamander on the near side with Skinks behind, and the Pterodons behind the hill.
And behind us.
Yes.
Cool. You go first. So how did that work? Did he?
I do. I seem to think I dropped for first.
Presumably, he picked sides with big center.
Yes, exactly that, which obviously favours holding the center, like we said. But that did mean that I was able to drop for first, and I did, and I was happy to. I know that Saurians work a lot better when they stick central and stick around a bubble of the Coatl. I know they're condensed because obviously playing them, that's kind of how they work. They don't tend to spread out and look after each other, especially skinks. And so I was kind of happy to try and focus on that center. He's only got 2 scoring units that I'm bothered by. I don't see the skinks playing much of a part in holding the center. So I was prepared to engulf and go big center and then come round with my cavalry, really. So yeah, I knew that I could also vanguard forward with my spiders unopposed if I went first. And I did my classic tactic, or at least it has been for this tournament. Single Scuttler Spider goes in front of his scary unit. Big Scuttler Spider goes in front of his other 2 units. And yeah, he's chaffed. And I can move forward freely.
And you do.
And you know, I can then put pressure on depending on what he chooses to do in his turn 1.
Yeah,
so yeah, going for it. Over here, similarly, I'm going proper aggro on this. I do not want to wait around. I'm literally thinking, with Saurians, they're fighty, but I think I outfight him, providing I can get the right matchups. And
you got the numbers.
I've always said that Temple Guards struggle if they don't attack first, and there isn't many scenarios in which his Temple Guard can attack first in this battle. Shamanism and Evo do not affect agility. If he charges me, I attack first. If I charge him, I attack first with my ferals. I don't see anything to fear against those Temple Guard. And it's for all the reasons that the weaknesses I've said with Temple Guard. Yeah. Over here, I'm just moving forward, really. That is that. Pyroclastic Flow goes off, and I kill a Salamander, which is awesome.
Was that with Blaze as well, or just the flow?
I think that was just Pyro Flow, I think, actually. I don't think... I did Blaze particularly, but that's a great success for Pyro Flow. Not really done a lot in this tournament. He declares a charge with his Temple Guard. Also, this is all the way through to his turn, actually, which is fine. I didn't have shooting any success there. This is past his magic phase. No, it's not. I think I might have taken the picture after. He's got a magic card on.
That's sort of Twisted Effigy, but I'm not sure.
Oh, maybe I've given his Quattle -2 to cast.
Oh, right, yeah.
That is exactly what I've done, actually, because it's my card, you're right. So he charges with his Temple Guard, and I flee with my Scuttler Spider.
Classic.
However, it is my classic move. What I did not actually remember or think about, because I moved my Scuttler to chaff his Raptor Rider, I wasn't actually fleeing the way I thought I was.
Centre to centre, innit?
And Mo, new player, but he got me on that one. And I realised I was actually fleeing that way, which wasn't my plan, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
However, I wasn't actually that bothered by it, because potentially, if the Temple Guard actually succeeded, they might actually give my ferals a flank, which would be incredible. Kind of.
Well, they'd
because I might
test
end up
a reform, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, exactly. There's all kinds of things about where they would end up, but it would really put me in 2 minds as to what I was actually doing. Do I send my wrecking teams in to soften them up before I go in, etc.? I really wasn't sure how that would work out. My plan was the Scuttler Spider would flee, the Temple Guard would come forward, I would charge them. And this kind of like was a bit, oh, right, okay, I'll duff that one up a bit, I need to reassess. But anyway, it moves on as follows. And he, very wisely, chooses to charge my Scuttler Spider with his single Salamander, which causes my Spider, unfortunately, because of the distance I rolled on the first flee, to flee into my own wrecking team.
Yeah, man.
So, great move from Mo there. And that was another consequence of me not getting my position right with my Scuttler. What I really should have done is not tried to chaff the Raptor Cowboy in the Temple Guard, because that's where the other Cowboy is on the right-hand side as you're looking at it.
Yeah.
And I should have just chaffed the unit and been right in front of them. But anyway, so he redirects.
It looks like as well,
Guard.
I haven't written it down on here, but it looks like your wolves fled.
My wolves, yes,
that were in between
they
your
did.
ferals and your big spider.
No, absolutely true. Because what happens? There's a whole load going on in this turn, really. In this picture, especially. So yeah, his Salamander redirects into my Goblin Wolf Riders because they're well within range. Because I've been very careless with my Wolf Riders, and I have to flee it because I don't want the Salamander killing my chaff for free.
Yeah.
And I want my Goblin Wolf Riders to rally, basically. What I also have very badly done, in my opinion, I really think I messed up my chaffing completely, if I'm honest, in this. well, first of all, the Taurus sword charges my spiders, and I passed the terror check, so that's okay.
Whew.
Happy enough with that. It is on the general's leadership, but it wasn't on BSB reroll, so I was rerollable. No, I was non-rerollable 9, so that is failable, but I passed it anyway. The other thing that I didn't do, and this is where I should have chaffed properly, is the Raptor Rider in the Saurian Warriors could charge, and I was again extremely careless with where I put my chariots, because I think he only needed like a 9 or a 10 on Swift Stride to get his Raptor into my chariots. And I think it might well be the cowboy with the great weapon. And without impact hits, my chariots just die to that. Maybe not immediately, but certainly eventually. And so I have to flee with my chariots. And I roll, I mean, we'll see later on where they end up. It's not on this picture. But I roll a decent distance. I am on the board still because I went so aggressive, which obviously I shouldn't have done because it gave him a charge. But I am still on the board with the chariots.
So I guess for hindsight, to stop that, your spiders that are there, because they're like troops, just go conga, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. Or I don't move my goblin raiders and my chariots so far forwards, because they're not really achieving anything.
Sure, and you don't really want them in.
I don't need them to chaff anytime soon, really. So it was a really careless turn 1 movement from me, I think.
Too aggressive.
Yeah, exactly. He redirects his cowboy into the Nashers. I have to hold them fearless on that one. So, yeah, great play from Mo. Really making me realise the mistakes I'd made when it was too late for me to do anything about them.
Yeah, man.
And this is what happened. So, he redirected the Temple Guard into the Ferals, needing a 12, and didn't get it. And I was actually quite glad, because I wasn't really ready to fight on his terms, because he would have a magic phase and I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So if the Temple Guard got in there, it wouldn't have been ideal, but it wasn't 12 and they failed. The Salamander had no chance of catching my Goblin Wolf Riders because they'd legged it. I don't know what happened to my... Oh, my Scarlet Spider died to the Wrecking Team, so that's fine. The Raptor, the Cowboy, actually failed the very short charge into the Nasher. Into the Nashers, which is crazy because actually that means that I technically didn't need to flee my chariots.
Sure.
But, you know, I didn't know he was going to
move
like 3 inches forwards.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so, and that's the situation.
But the Taurus gets in.
Is into the Scarlet, you know. He moves his Spearback into my other Wrecking Team and kills the Wrecking Team. The Spearback goes down afterwards, obviously, as you would expect, so that's fine. I believe... so he moves his Pterodons over the Boar Riders.
He does.
His left flank, our right, as we look at it. You would think that this is actually a picture of him dropping rocks on them. It's not.
Oh.
He dropped rocks, and he got maximised amount of rocks, which I think is like 9 rocks, and they did 0 wounds to me.
Right.
And then he was like, oh, well, that's just annoying. And I was like, I can't believe that's just happened. And then he followed up with his javelins, 3 of them, and killed 2. How does that work?
That's fantastic.
So, I mean, I probably would have been about right having 2 casualties from that whole encounter, because he shouldn't have rolled as many rocks, and he shouldn't have done any wounds with javelins. But it all flipped around, and I'm fearless, so who cares, right?
Fair play. Yeah.
But that is the Ed Basher unit as well, so the core must be on the other side.
Sure.
Over here, he powers through a stone skin on the Temple Guard, and that's a problem because that makes them, I believe it makes them at least res 6, maybe even res 7, because he might have had Oaken Throne up.
Worth saying as well, he's done a good job on the painting.
Oh, massively, yeah, they're really
they look pretty cool.
Really beautiful.
Really detailed.
Exactly, very much so. I think that is the only spell he gets off, other than maybe Oaken Throne.
Sure.
We'll assess when it gets to it.
So you're at the end of turn 1. You're got a decision to make.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, my chaffing was in all the right intentions, but I don't think I played it overly well, and I might have to reassess.
However, we switch. So that's where we leave it with yours. So we're a bit of a standoff, but an aggressive standoff from both of you, I feel, in that
indeed.
one. However, on my table, this is how we are. I believe I choose the big centre and he goes first, so I guess roles reversed some more. From my deployment, I have my lord on the hill, facing off that whole corner, not really worrying too much about it, and on the hill for a re-rollable charge, probably 10-inch charge. So I'm really happy with that. Feudal Knights sort of go that way, leave him to it. Penitent in the middle, because I think I'm going to need him for the whole dissenter. The pegs on that side, protecting my Penitent's flank and helping out the core Ordo Sergeants, basically, who I'm planning on hopefully running down the side and so that he can't, knowing vampires as well, knowing that they can't march too much, hoping they can do some damage down there, or at least just be annoying. Trebuchets at the back as well. From his one, as you're looking at it left to right, he's got the Wraiths that have already moved up, because I'm way too quick, way too slow on the movements. He goes, "Oh, do you want me to move them back?" I was like, no. Carry on.
Yeah, no, it's my error, not yours.
Yeah. Then Winged Reapers, then the amazing Shrieking Horror Lord, which is obviously he's pointing to the right at this point, because he's does the old shuffle. Small unit of 15 ghouls with some great bats behind them. Big unit of I want to say 27, but it might be more. It might be 37 ghouls with the courtier, on-foot courtier, and a banshee in there. So that's like his central unit that he wants to put into the hold the centre. Another Shrieking Horror. Then a unit of 27 zombies with a necromancer. In front of them is a unit of 10 ghouls, and then some spectral hunters on the side. And he moves up like so. So he sort of shuffles to the right a bit, seeing that all I've got is survivor on the left hand side. I believe I did it so that I knew that from his front line he couldn't be. What was the magic number for this? His Shrieking Horrors. I don't want them to shriek at my lord. That's the big play. So they've got a movement of 8, a march of 16, a range of 8, so that's 24. And obviously they've got the little pivot thing. So I think it was 27 inches. So I made 27.1. I kept saying it. The amount of times I said 27.1, you could have done a drinking game on it. You know?
Absolutely. Don't doubt it.
So I made sure I would be in 27.1 from where his deployment line would be, so they couldn't even shuffle up and stuff. So it meant that he just didn't come forward or put them together or anything like that. So he sort of shuffled to the right slightly for him.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of Beyonce. He doesn't really... Oh, I vanguard the yeomen through the ruins, because they don't march through the ruins. They don't take any vanguardy tricks.
Sneaky, yeah. Because you valued their lives, apparently.
Yeah, right. If it was a damsel, don't worry, I'd wait.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But really, nothing gets off in Magic. It's a bit of a bust in Magic. So that's all we've got for his turn. Obviously, no shooting, and his Shrieking Horrors aren't close enough to shriek. So we go on to my turn. And my computer's frozen a bit. There we go. So I move up slightly. I move my Lord back because I don't need to. He's not got any good charges on me. I don't want him shrieking me. If he shrieks me, I die. Even with the magical 4-up, say it's just too much, I think. So I move back and I bide my time with him, still on the hill, majority, and the other guys just sort of shuffle. The most aggressive I get is with the yeomen, who are sitting behind you at the minute. I'll just move us so people can see. Yeah. And the light lance order sergeants, they're in the flank of the spectral hunters. I don't expect them to do anything there. However, I do want them. I do want the spectral hunters to think about them. So I want them to be a annoyance more than actually anything. So I'll be shooting with the yeoman bows and seeing how many I can plink off of that. I do put my general, who's the Green Knight model, in the Ordo Sergeants on the right. I put him within Hand of Heaven range of the Hex Wraiths, because that's literally the only thing I have. What did I roll for this? I rolled Hand of Heaven. for my wizard crown, which I don't think I've
interesting.
really mentioned because up till now it hasn't really affected anything.
It's not been Quicksilver Lash like it was for me.
No,
anyway.
no.
Yeah.
So I had I thought, well, at least I've got another thing that can potentially do something against the Shrieking Horrors. So that's cool. The reason I've put the 21.1 inches dole is because actually I didn't measure how far it was, and I wasn't quite within divination range because obviously there was a crown of doing what's the big one? Fate's Judgment, is it?
Fate's Judgment, yeah.
Which he is scared of here.
Of course he is, yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'll do Fate's Judgment, and he was like, oh, is that 21 inch? I was like, I don't know, is it? And we worked out it was 21.1. I was like, darn. So there we go. So that was a bit frustrating on my part. However, I do. And magic doesn't really do much from what I can remember. However, my trebs both come down and do like I want to say like 18 wounds, 16 wounds. So
that'll force his magic players into.
And I know,
rises.
And this is the thing to any player playing against vampires: just stop the heals. They have other stuff that's really scary, but just stop the heals. So I know if I can stop these heals, we might have it. We got a good chance here. So yeah,
definitely.
I did get Breath of the Lady off in my magic phase, so that's cool. And he lets that one off, so he can stop everything else, I think. Apart from Hannah Heaven, which he lets, which gets off for some reason.
Your skewed memory of your bad magic phase.
I know. But only does one thing, and he's not really too bothered there.
So with Hand of Heaven, you had 2 Hand of Heavens. You could only cast one of them, but
no, I can cast them both because one is a bound spell, one is because this is a bound spell.
Oh right,
and one is
fair enough.
Crown of the Wizard King.
However,
they're both on they're on either side, so they're not like focus firing.
No.
Argument I should have potentially done that against spectral things, but yeah,
sure.
Which is where we leave it for us and go back to you.
Yeah.
We just, I mean, yours is an aggressive standoff. Ours is the opposite. We're just
that's true.
Really
actually,
far back and biding our time.
So, although it has to be said, my aggressive standoff didn't go quite the way I planned it after Mo's turn 1. So going into my turn 2, I have to reassess, and I am against Res 6 or Res 7. I honestly can't remember now. We might be able to work it out when I explain further, but because I remember the maths involved. So what happens is my Nashers declare a charge on the left. What did they charge?
They charged the flank of the Saurians.
Yes, they did. I had a flank on the Saurians. Thank you. I was wondering why the arrow was straight, but that's my movement path, isn't it? Yeah. So amazingly, my center of my Nashers was actually in the flank of the Saurians, which I thought was a great opportunity to start biting Saurian warriors, really. Because they wouldn't have a lot of attacks, and I would be attacking first, which is awesome. And obviously they had escaped from the cowboy charging them, so even better to hold them in place because it meant my ferals were free to do whatever they wanted. I declared a charge with my boars into the flank of his temple guard. That is via the salamander.
So did you pass the redirect there?
No, I did not. So they failed the redirect into the temple guard. The salamander, you can see, has fled through his units and is now standing in front of the Saurian warriors. I was so close to getting the salamander to flee in front of his Taurosaur, which would have been amazing because that meant the Taurosaur couldn't countercharge.
Sure.
But unfortunately, the angle of center to center on my balls to the salamander wasn't quite right, and the salamander went through both, which is a shame. But I couldn't have planned that. That was my genius in any way. I get ballsy. Basically, you go. I am going to be strength 5 on the charge with my ferals. So I would be wounding on. So they are res 6. I remember now. They are only res 6. Only res 6. I am going to be wounding on 5s in that combat with my ferals. I go for it because that was the plan originally, and I am going aggro. And I know that if I can attack first against Temple Guard, I can just limit their attacks back. I go for the Gargantula as well. I declare the war cry to make sure that everything happens as I'm expecting. Obviously, the Nashers need a decent number to get in the flank. I don't want only the ferals or only the Gargantula. I want them all in. And I succeed with everything. Don't worry about the Nashers obviously not being in contact. It's because they're on a hill, but they are actually in on the flank, which is amazing. And yeah, Gargantula and Ferals into the Temple Guard. I did think about the crisscross, but I don't think it was.
I think it's the right thing anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I figured as much. So
Rally Flayed.
Massive few because I had charged my general out of range of my chariots, and obviously a fleeing BSB is not rerollable. So I was on the Goblin's discipline, the Goblin BSB's discipline. I think it's either 6 or 7. I think it might be 7, but yeah, I pass. What I don't pass is my Goblin Raiders.
Which shows you how easy it is to fail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
my goodness.
And I think my Goblin Raiders were actually rerollable because I brought my BSB back first.
Well, you definitely did it in the right order then.
Oh, I definitely did it in the right order there because that is a lot of points that I could have been sending because it's my wizard, my witchcraft wizard, my BSB. Yeah, it's not fun to think about that. And that was my mistake that they ended up there. So I would have deserved to fail that. But
sure. Remaining moves.
Remaining moves. So yeah, my boar's on the right can't move further after their javelin shock, which is fine. I move my core unit of feral orcs in front of the raptor cowboy as chaff to stop him doing any stuff of use. I move my other Edbasher feral unit to be within range of the hold center. So I've got 3 scoring units, I think, within the center, which at the moment marries up to his 2 scoring units because he's got his Temple Guard and his Saurians. So I'm thinking at the end of his turn, I'm winning 3-2, but there's obviously a lot of scenarios that will change.
But the Saurians aren't within 6, surely.
Yeah, no, they are.
Are they?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the gap between them and the centre is the same as or thereabouts. It's either they're both out, i.e. my balls are out as well,
sure,
or they're both in. But either way, it's either 2-1 to me or 3-2 to me. So,
fair enough.
There's that. The boars with the common orc boars with lances follow up behind the Nashers. So I'm not necessarily expecting the Nashers to be able to get through all of that unit. But when the Saurians turn around at the end of this combat and kill the Nashers, the following turn, I'll charge with my lances and finish up what's left. So I'm really just bullying that flank and keeping the Saurians there as long as possible.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Basically, I didn't have any chaff left to stop the Taurosaur, potentially. So
yeah,
I get Deceptive Glamour off on the Temple Guard to reduce their defensive skill and the offensive skill as well. Which means that I am now going to be hitting on 3s with Battle Focus. He is going to be hitting on 4s because he would have been hitting on 3s. Yeah, rerolling ones. So that is a double swing for me. Agility doesn't really matter in this one because I'm first no matter what.
Sure.
But it does reduce the agility of his cowboy a little bit. I don't know whether that really matters too much. I also power through flaming swords.
More importantly.
And that was huge. I don't know whether I diced Mo on that, but I do know that it was a huge spell to get off.
So starting off, you've got how many ferals?
I've got 35 ferals.
So 35 ferals, Shagger, Arthrax?
Azanax.
And a Gargantula against his 27
Temple Guard,
Coatl, and Cowboy.
Yes. I am attacking first with
looking
everything.
Good. Yeah, that is looking good.
And I'm now wounding on 4s, despite them being res 6. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm hitting on 3s with Battle.
Because your Gargantula's strength 5, isn't he, as well?
Gargantula is strength 5.
So yes, he's still on 5s.
He is still on 5s, but poison might mean I don't have the wound with him.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's as good as I could have got while being bold. Really, I mean, it was tempting to say he's got stone skin off, don't charge, but Quattles can cast that every turn if they want. Exactly. So I wanted to basically go for it. I mean, even wounding on 5s without flaming swords, I felt like I had a chance.
Yeah.
So cool. In this combat, I kill not as many Saurian warriors as I would have liked, if I'm honest. And he kills almost as many Nashers back. I think with a charge and a flank and the 3-4 wounds that I've done to him, I think I still win. which is fine. So I don't have to take a test. But it isn't by many, so he can easily reform.
He's steadfast anyway, isn't he?
Exactly, yeah. So I was never expecting much different. But I would have liked to have killed a few more.
But are you on the same time now? No, you're still going first, aren't you, next
I'm
time?
still going first, yeah. I'll still
do
kill a few more.
Yeah.
And that's on his turn, so hopefully then the dancers can follow up. Boom town!
Oh my days.
My lord. If ever I was proved right, it's
1, 2, 3, 4,
young
5,
lucky
6.
sixes. How many feral have I lost?
You killed
Not
21.
Many. Yeah, I killed so many Temple Guard. I will say that my dice were hot as
well, yeah. So
hot
you're
fudge.
Hitting on 3s with battle
Hitting
focus.
on 3s with battle focus.
Wounding on 4s.
Yes.
With the ferals. Obviously the Lord.
Yeah,
goes
the Shaggers, just smashing up 2s and 2s, I think.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, it might be 2s and 3s actually. Probably 2s and 2s. And Shagger was rolling really well as well in this as well. So my Gargantula helped a bit. He has literally got is that 5 or no? He's got 6 Temple Guard left. They kill 6 back, which is respectable, obviously. But they are now hitting on 4s, etc. So
that's brutal
as well.
That's brutal.
Really, really do. He is unbreakable, of course. Bodyguard, stubborn. So he doesn't flee. So he will get a chance to countercharge with his Taurosaur. So
and does.
And he does. Of course he does. What else would he do? The Skinks were kind of stuck behind. They didn't do anything. They didn't want to charge into the Gargantula because that would have been free meat. Interesting. So the Pterodons continue their javelin attacks and kill one more, which is fair enough. Over here, he charges into the core unit of ferals to kill them, which you would expect. Absolutely fine. I think I've done a wound to his
looks like
raptor. Maybe I don't think it was magic. What would it have been?
Just the attacks back?
Yeah, because this is after combat. Yeah,
this is after
combat. You're right. Yeah, so the 2 that survived, or I went first because he's got a great weapon, perhaps.
Sure.
But on the other combat with the Nashers, I kill 3 or 4 more. He wipes them out. And they die rather than.
But it is your turn next, so
it is my turn next. So that is all part of the plan still, and I have got border units elsewhere.
Over here, though,
we continue very much as before. Obviously, I have now got a Taurosaur coming in with impact hits, so I lose more this time round than I did in the first turn of combat because he kills a few with impact hits in the Taurosaur. I wipe out the Temple Guard, which is great because it means they're no longer bodyguard. And I'm not taking wounds on my Gargantula, which is amazing because his Raptor has to be attacking ferals. The Quattle, I think I might have done a wound to because I was actually stomping the Quattle, which is insane.
I suppose you do it against the unit, don't you? So,
well, the unit was dead, but the Quattle's standard size infantry, despite being on that base, so I can still stomp the Quattle. And his Aegis is 4 up, but it still means I get the Gargantula's attack still, which is cool. It
looks like he's still got Stone Skin off, but it just didn't matter.
He has got Stone Skin off again, but obviously I've still got Flaming Swords. So it's still similar.
And you did. It looks like it was 7 all. He had a charge, but you've got loads of stuff and maybe a few more wounds actually. On top of that.
That's it. And I think I either win or lose by not many and pass everything. And
the more astute of you will know that I have cropped this, and those death piles to be on there as well. Yes, that's not part of the map.
No.
What?
What? Why is this the last picture, Lucky Sixes? What have you done with the editing? Surely that's faked. No, it is not, because Mo saw the writing on the wall with his Temple Guard dead, and we talked about the situation. We were going into my turn 3. I was 1-0 up on the objective because he has no Temple Guard there, and I am 1-0 up. We didn't see. I mean, obviously, when your opponent says, "I'm thinking about calling this one in because I think you've won this 20-0," it's a mixed emotions you feel. because you're like, yay, I'll take the 20, woo! But you're also like, okay, hang on a minute, let's assess this and make sure I'm not doing my opponent in, especially as I knew that Mo was a new player. I didn't want to feel like I'd stolen a 20 if there was a way of him getting back into this or not losing 20. So looking at this objectively, which you're better to give your opinion than I am at this point. I'm going to probably kill the Quattle in my turn 3 with my feral attacks. My Gargantula can probably power through 1 or 2 wounds on the Raptor Rider, maybe, and probably survive his attacks back for 1 turn because I've taken no wounds on the Gargantula. The Taurosaur might be a bit more of a problem, but Shagger is in contact with the Taurosaur. So Shagger's pretty strong, like strength 7, I think. So I think Shagger, when he actually allocates his attacks on the Taurosaur, especially with a magic phase to back him up, I think I eventually kill the Taurosaur. Maybe not in my turn 3. But
he's not stubborn, is he?
He's not stubborn anymore. I'm not getting a lot of combat res though if I don't wound. So his Raptor and Taurosaur could do a few back to my ferals to make him still win combat. But I would by then have got my BSB into range, so I'd be steadfast rerollable 9 at that point. So realistically, I don't see his Raptor, Quattle, and Taurosaur surviving that long against my ferals. Maybe I don't kill them in my turn 3. I think I do eventually win that out, even if he gets Stone Skin on one of the targets, because they're now 3 separate casts.
Yeah.
You know, you can only protect one of them. The Saurian unit, I can basically ignore this turn. And what I was thinking before Mo decided he didn't want to carry on, I was going to charge my Lance Commons into the back of his Raptor and my other Boars into the flank of his Raptor. That's a Raptor with great weapon. I'm strength 7 on the charge with my unit behind. And so I think I would have killed the Raptor in combat and then overran my units, both of them probably, and ignored each other.
But do you have a champ?
I do have a champ, but I can decline.
Charge, rear, flank. Do you have any standards?
Yes, on the Common Orcs, I think. No, maybe not, actually.
Yeah.
But it would have been a charge, so that's 3. The flank to make it 4. If he doesn't kill any of the flank, which he probably would, then it would be 5.
But yeah, like you said, you got some.
Yeah, exactly. I think I kill him. He's only got.
He's 3. Not stubborn or anything like that.
No.
So he's only got 2 wounds left or 3.
2 or 3. He might have the Taurosaur's bigger.
Sure.
But at that point, if that had been the case, I would have also been killing his Quattle first, hopefully, to stop the BSB reroll. So I'm thinking that goes my way as well. And then by that point, I've got my ferals to charge his Saurians or his Skinks. The Pterodons can fly around all they like.
So
they're not
the best case scenario for him is that you win this round. Actually, if you beat his Taurosaur and overrun into one of the Skink units, right? Because if you don't win this round, then you're likely to win next round, which means the round after you can charge in 360.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so best case scenario is he holds me into my.
Although if you overrun into the Skinks, you're definitely winning anyway. So
that's it. Yeah. So I don't think I cheated Mo out of.
Well, if he offered, you definitely didn't.
Well, he did. He did offer. He was more than happy to call it there.
Yeah.
And I accepted it based on that assessment, really, because I really wanted to make sure that I wasn't misleading a new player.
Which meant it was a 20-0 to the Orcs and Goblins. What a good finish!
Absolutely, got to be delighted by that. Smashed them up, really. All about the ferals on the Temple Guard. It gave me 66 points to finish the tournament on.
Best ever tournament?
Insane. Best ever tournament by a long way. Delighted. 3 wins, 2 small losses.
So
2 of those wins were big
your
wins.
final position was 9th, although at the time I think you got up to you were 3rd with this.
I was 3rd, yes. I had a screenshot of me in 3rd place, so I was podiuming at the point that Mo gave me the 20.
And it wasn't exactly at this point, but it was a little bit later that you came round and said, "Well, I just got a 20, mate," and I went and I shizzled my pants.
Yes, because that meant that in round 5, after only about 45 minutes play,
Hmm.
I am now 16 points ahead of you in
know.
the tournament. And we haven't spoken much in this tournament.
No.
But there's always that little bit of a rivalry.
There's like a sense in the back of the... Yeah, I was about to roll a dice and I went, something's happened.
Yeah. Exactly. And this is what happened, basically.
But yeah.
So it also meant in other news that Jordan Davis, my closest rival with Orcs and Goblins for Best in Race, needed to get a very big win. Not a 20, but he needed to get a very big win in order to contest Best in Race for Orcs and Goblins. Would he manage it? We don't have that battle report, though.
No,
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. Oh my god, with Orcs and Goblins out the way and done early doors, we turn our attentions back to the Kingdom of Exane, and certainly a challenge here, because we're standing off. We're not aggressive, we're not going for the big win. So you come over and you go, okay, well, you've still got all your models on the board. Yeah, I have actually. And this is actually after his movement. So the standoff continues, really.
Looks like it.
He doesn't move forward with much, apart from his wraiths, which he has is not out of line of sight of my lord. It is a trap, folks. He wants me to charge and then counter-charge with the world.
Or shriek you to death like he always planned.
Exactly. So he has left that there, but obviously he's in the flank of my feudals as well, so yeah, it's a bit of a thing. Moves up so that he's within 6 of the objective. He's not technically behind the
obstacle,
but he is on it, which
sure
is a thing, and we'll come on to in a sec. Otherwise, yeah, just moves around. He's actually moves his Spectral Hunters back, which I was very surprised at, because those 3 units on the right don't like Spectral Hunter unless he knows something I don't. Yeah. Unless he knows something I don't.
Put it in the comments.
Yeah.
What does Sean know that Lucky Six doesn't? And try to make the comments not too long. Yeah.
So Shane obviously did that, and
Shane, sorry, yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll continue threatening with my Yeoman. But
brilliant.
He doesn't get much. I was about to say he doesn't get much magic off, but he does manage to get a single heal off, because he's got about 4 heals, right? Yeah, and he gets 10 back, and I'm like, oh,
you can't stop all of them.
You can't.
Honestly, vampires just have to take 4 arises.
So yeah, so I need all 10s. Actually, I remember this was I have a re-rollable 10 with my feudal knights. And I'm like, you know what? If I go through that unit, I've got a unit of ghouls, a unit of bats, and a shrieking horror that I can just overrun into. So if I get 2 of these units in, I can probably get the unit of ghouls and the shrieking horror. He does have a banshee and a courtier in there, and I think it's the shield breaker courtier as well. So that's a bit annoying, but let's go for it. I'm not taking any DTs because I don't go through the forest.
This is before I'd come over as well, so you didn't know what you needed to do at the
start. No, I didn't. That's true. But I saw the objective and I thought, well, if I stumble forward 3 or 4, I might be able to get it within the objective thing as well. So let's do it. And I fancied the 10s. I fancied the 10s.
You always do. I mean, you fancy 12s, so
yeah. And I got a re-roll on 1, so I'm like, all right, let's do it.
It's guaranteed. They're pretty much in. Move on. They're in.
So the pegs and the feudals didn't do it. The feudals at least got like 6, so moved quite far forward.
That's actually the last unit you want to see.
Yeah, the penitent out of the 3, the least offensive.
Offensive,
sorry. Of the lot. So and it's at this point where I'm like, well, at least you're not behind the wall. And of course, the rule for the behind the wall is you get hard target if you're behind it, but if most of your front line is on it, you still get the distracting. And I learned that.
I learned that the hard way.
Did not know that.
Yeah, folks. I learned that the hard way.
So this first round is going to be not as
ropey
nice as I liked. And I'm like,
nope.
What? What do you mean? No, you're not on. You're not behind it, mate. You're not behind it. He went,
no,
it is. I was like, no, you're not behind it.
Just keep saying it. It'll eventually be true.
Yeah. What's happened? So
Oh.
Yeah, we will see. We will see. So I need the penitent. You know, the penitent have been pretty good up to now. They've done a lot of jobs. They've done the hard graft and a lot of zoning. Now they need to do the punch job. It's not what they're trained
really,
for.
No.
They've trained with shields, and I've basically put daggers in their heads and their hands.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that in mind, I put the Lord over this way. I'm not worrying about ranges of the Shrieking now, because I figure if he comes in and he marches 16, yeah, he'll shriek me, but he needs to then get out of the way of all my stuff, and I don't think he can, with a 1,000-point unit. I don't think he can risk it. So perhaps I should have thought that earlier, if I'm honest. But yeah, you can also see down on the bottom left, the trebuchet has taken 3 wounds to a swarm of insects in his previous turn that I forgot about. But otherwise, it is what it is. I moved my human up into the flank to continue the annoyance. Yes, to threaten.
They are threatening. They are.
They're sharpening their light lances. Going, come on, ghosties.
They definitely passed an intimidation check there, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. But my other guys just sort of moved back towards the line. He binding scrolls fake judgment now that I'm within range. He has 2. So I wish that was the last one, but he's got another one as well. So my divination, and of course, normally I haven't been taking the Fate's Judgment because I haven't. I've normally wanted the 2 buff spells, but in this one it didn't really matter that I was plus offensive because I'm already better than
I'm already better.
I'm already better, man. So I swapped out for this, but yeah, I do get Deceptive Glamour on them to basically stop the Courtier hitting well. I think it means the Courtier is hitting on 4s now instead of 3s, which is good because he's the shield breaker guy, so I need him to be as bad as possible. I put the Evil Eye on this Shrieking Horror just in case he wants to. I don't know. There's no real reason. I get a Hand of Heaven and do 1 wound. You can see a 5 in the back there, and this is the model as well, guys.
Oh man!
I will tell you now. I've got a good camera, but it don't do its justice. At all, and I've always said that the cameras don't do the things justice. However, even saying that, this model and the models surrounding look amazing. Shane's such a good painter, and he puts a lot of effort in trying new things and new stuff, like the water, as you can see here, and I think it's great. I really got to hand it to him in that front, but I still put a wound on him, so nah.
Cheeky.
My trebuchet misfires and can't shoot for the rest of the game. I haven't been taking note.
No, we're not tallying.
But in hindsight, I think I should have, because this is a recurring thing for the Trebs. But I mean, with the big unit of ghouls done now, apart from killing zombies, I'm not too fussed with this.
Yeah.
So this is after combat. Nothing really happens. I lose 2 wounds. He loses 2 wounds. I think he maybe loses 4 or something. But whatever it is, in total, including the crumble, he loses 6. So I think amazing. I get 2. I
suppose his ghouls are AP0, aren't they?
2 wounds, I think, or maybe 4 wounds. Maybe I get 4 wounds. He gets 2 wounds back.
Yeah.
So I'm winning by 2.
So you're 4-2 up. He has no rank bonus. You have a charge, so you're winning by 3. He has a.
I don't know. Whatever it was, he lost 6. Maybe I get 3 wounds. Whatever it has to be. In total, he loses 6.
So his shield breaker whiffed it then.
Yes. Yeah, he couldn't hit. Him hitting on 4s was massive. Of course, he being shield breaker, he can only wound on 3s as well. So there was enough 1s and 2s there where he only did 1 wound. The ghouls didn't wound, which is important because I think the Banshee did the other wound to him, or however it worked. But it means they don't get the rerolls to hit.
Is this a Cheeky Orison token on you there?
Yes.
4-up Aegis?
Cheeky Orison. No, it was the +1 to hit because I wanted to nullify the distracting, basically.
Sure. Yeah.
So that is one, and obviously one that I can't isn't faced back. But yeah, so I didn't lose many. But I didn't do many either. So, and it's his turn next. So
yeah,
I really got to stop
interest,
this heals.
you wouldn't count as a charging unit anymore. You don't get distracting yourself for being on the wall.
No, it's only in the first round of combat.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But what I do is I reform to go 7 wide, so that I've got more horses in, because I'm pretty sure the horses did the damage, which is so funny. But they are strength 5 horses, so I think
that's very good.
That all the time. So they reform like this.
Why are they strength 5?
I don't know. But this is what I mean. That's why they're in my thing. Strength 5 and strength 6 guys on top. To Obama. Yes, are you crazy? So he, and obviously they get the origin from themselves, being the minister as well. They also get 1 back at the start of my next turn, but I have got to survive this. He counter charges by putting his ghouls in the flank, and it obviously won't be all of it, but I think 3 files or whatever it is. We'll get it. And he does charge, as the more astute of you can see, his wraiths into the side.
Sure.
But fails that. So he then has to chaff with his bats. Obviously can't chaff my flying units, but chaffs my feudals from doing anything silly. He moves his Shrieking Horrors and his Spectral Hunter on the right side to kill the Yeoman. Now, I'm putting that down as a win, right?
Yeah.
He's just getting fed up with these guys, and wants to, and he wants to shriek something without getting
charged.
So he does that, and I think it's funny. I just think it's funny. Otherwise, moves his main lord and the Winged Reapers round for counter charges later.
Yeah. That is probably the moment that the yeomen just soil their pants, though, isn't it?
Like, I mean, they've been sharpening their things and then just stab.
Yeah.
It's better than what they can do.
Make it painless.
This is confirmation of the failed charge.
Indeed.
And this is the zap. And they flee from panic. Although, to
3
be honest,
survived to live another
2
day.
died. It was, and Shane was well pissed off. It was like, I've zapped them with and they only do 2. I think it was the Aegis. I think they saved loads of Aegis, which was just, it was funny, man. But they do run, and there's that. So, right.
Oh my lord!
After combat. Now this, I writ this because I knew I would forget all the combat writ things.
Very good.
So he goes first with virtually everything and does 2 wounds, and I'm pretty sure that wasn't the ghouls again. So there's that.
But also that is the shield breaker whiffing somewhat.
Yes, again the deceptive glamour still on him. I think he did get. I think his magic was a bust as well, so we didn't get any raises off, which was the main thing. Or if he did, he'd only got 1, and this was after combat. So, what we have is he had 2 wounds to me. Me being where I was, I was 7 wide, and now I am 6 because 2 ones dead. Out of my 13 attacks, including the ones with horses, I do 10 wounds to the ghouls going forward, and that is crazy. I put it on +1 to hit because I need combat res. If I just survive, that's no good. I need to do combat res. I am at this point. I guess this is before the update. I am unstable, so I'm not dying or fleeing or anything. So there is that, which is good. However, it doesn't even come down to that. He does 2 wounds, I do 10. He's got charge, flank, rank. I've got banner, which means I actually win by 6. And he crumbles 6 on both units because they're separate units. Wow. So I don't even go for the ones on the side, but this is obviously them crumbling.
Did he not have big flank as well?
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
However, we might have forgot that, if I'm honest. But either way, 6-5, it's the same real difference in that regard.
I was just wanted to, you'd gone to such an effort to get your maths right.
Get me wrong.
I was like, there must be something I can find in there.
But yeah, I only have banner to add to it. But I go to town on the fair play to them. They do absolute
amazing.
I think they're hitting on 2s, winning on 2s. To be fair, obviously the horses are hitting on 3s, winning on 2s. So. But they just get them all. It was just like one of them where I didn't roll a 1. It was just insane. So really, really good, amazing, and really, really sets me up for the next turn. Where I go for it, I take the pegs. I need a 8, I think it is.
I think this is when I came over.
Yeah.
Just as you were about to roll it.
Just as I'm about to roll the 8. So it's not re-rollable. It is Swift Stride, and I obviously killed a charge and killed a bats. Spoiler. I was in an hour in whether to do the Lord as well, but I wanted to see if I could get. There wasn't. I would have done the Lord if the gap between the back of the ghouls and the Shrieking Horror Lord was 50 mil, but it wasn't. It was a bit more. Whether that was done or not on purpose, I'm not sure. I can't remember. But it wasn't the gap. So if it was, I would have charged them both. But as it wasn't the case, I did it like that. Just the
you don't want to risk failing that and then being shrieked
if he gets
off,
in, it's fine. But if he, I don't want him there to be countercharged by anything really. I also get Stars Align on the pegs, and I put Guiding Light on the Feudal Knights just in case they get charged by anything. I need to be steadfast.
And these pegs really, they're on a knife edge as to whether they've done well or not this tournament, because there's been 2 different sides of them. So we're wondering which ones are going to show up.
They've been crazy. So, I mean, it's a good spot for them, but this really, again, isn't for against the ghouls. It's against what's to come, realistically. And I just go through the ghouls. I go through the ghouls. I crumble them. Same with the bats. I overrun with the Feudal Knights because I know he's not charging me with anything on the right hand side, and I want to get away from the stuff on the left hand side. Yeah, definitely. Knowing that he has to go into the pegs now, or I just wipe the floor with him. Move my Lord again to where you can see, just to countercharge anything. I am in the forest with the Feudal Knights. I think there's a long charge with the Wraiths, like a 12. And I am in the forest, which was a bit silly. I didn't really see... the overrun was for good intentions, I feel. But it didn't really get me where I wanted it to. It was a weird one. And I think I rolled well as well. So there was
it looks like you got a fair way.
As you can see there as well, the Penitent lost 4 in number. The Shield Breaker finally did something, but it was all too little too late, I'm afraid. So yeah, pegs just turn to face, Penitent turn to face and say, what you got?
Yeah.
Gonna go. But it was at this point where we were starting to run out of time. I think there was not as maybe 20 minutes left or something. I can't remember.
Oh wow, yeah. There's a long standoff between you.
Yeah. On his turn, I think I rallied the human crazily. He charged and I just fled.
I was not give him the satisfaction.
Yeah, I'll flee. Pass him over. Pass him. He can have it.
He kept them on his side and stamped on them before he gave it back.
Yeah, I know. I was like, fair play. He charges both in to my pegs.
That'd be a good test.
He doesn't charge his Lord in because he knows my Lord can then countercharge his Lord.
Sure.
I'm not sure that's the right play because he needs these guys dead. But there's that. And he only gets in with the pegs.
Oh, those Wraiths.
With Winged Reapers. So
yeah.
Winged Reapers are good. They are good. They got a lot of attack. I think got 5 attacks each or something. But I'm in a good spot with Divine and all that jazz. What's it called? Stars Align?
Stars Align.
Yeah, so we shall see. And as it happened, we did actually go a little bit further than this. But
I know that you were really running out of time, so the photos had to sort of stop.
The photos stopped, but this is a good one to finish and sum up. We got to the end of our turn 5 in the end.
Sure.
And we were like, too much. It
shows how long that standoff was at the start.
Yeah,
really.
and there was lots of little movements and things. We decided not to talk through the other the turn 6 because too much could happen. And I said to Shane that probably did him out of some points because this is so on my turn 5 I charge his Winged Reapers who have already lost 1. He just didn't remove it because of things. My pegs just shields up, boys, and just parry everything that's coming at him. So I get the Winged Reapers in the end. I don't get anything else in terms of points, but neither does he. Which is
and
probably
you are
the
sat up
crucial,
on the objective, having
and I
cocked
said,
up some points.
if we had a 6th turn, I wouldn't have charged the Lord in because I want him as a counter charge to everything. So I'm willing to lose a unit, maybe 2, to the Shrieking Horror dude if I can then counter charge him with my Lord. So he decides that 1,000 points for him is too much as well, being the general.
Yeah.
So it's just a case of he keeps him away. Spectral Hunters, Zombies, the 10-man ghouls, and the Wraiths survive. But otherwise, I get everything else. And he's just killed the Yeoman.
Yeah, and the objective's yours. So.
And the objective is mine. So
you were 16 points behind me.
I was 16 points behind. And I didn't know.
Point.
I didn't know what it was. I hadn't lost a lot, but I'd only got 2. I felt like I'd only got 2 or 3 units. Obviously, that ghoul unit was bigger, potentially, than I thought.
With a Banshee and a Courtier. So was it enough?
Which got me the 17!
Oh, you son of a gun!
I couldn't believe it. I didn't even look. I let Shane do it and put it in
he
the
added it up,
Keeper.
didn't he? Yeah,
I was like, look, I don't want to add anything wrong. You just tell me. And he was like, it's a 17. So
at which point I gave you my hand and said, well done,
it
Lucky
was.
Sixes.
It was
what a good tournament.
Yeah, we'd both done extremely well. The best either of us had ever done. I guess it's more impressive from your point of view because you did it with a non-OP army.
No. We're not having that.
However, a lot. Like I did say though, I think if we go on a turn, I don't think it's as big as a win. I think it's a big win. I think it's a 14-15 regardless. I don't think it's as big of a win if we go that 6th turn because I think his stuff. He's got Shrieking Horror on the right that can potentially scream and stuff, and that's down to leadership checks.
Yeah.
He's got the Wraith.
Does he kill your penitents as well?
No, penitent. Oh well, sorry, I know what you mean.
With another shriek,
with a shriek, or a charge. I think the penitents will go down as well. So
the wraiths can probably do a bit of damage to someone.
I mean, anything that does go into those, my Lord probably gets as well. And so there's that. But we digress. At the end of the tournament, I'll keep moving us into position where we are. Here we are, not 8th and 9th, top 10.
Top 10, amazing.
We don't
really
often
cool.
show you that.
No, well, we've never shown them that. I mean, look at us being tournament goers.
Yeah, right. And I mean, as an extra little thing, a shout out to Jordan Davis who got nearly.
I mean, he literally came over and he said, "You lucky boy." I was like, "Ooh, what does this mean?"
Yeah.
He had a big win in his final game, but not big enough. So what you did to me, I did to Jordan, really, in terms of the best in race. But funnily enough, I think did Jordan actually beat Rory, which meant your rival for
possibly. Yeah, I can't remember race. Actually. Yeah.
No, I'm not sure. Actually, they might have been on tables next to each other. I know I was talking to them both at the same time. No, that isn't right. Jordan didn't play Rory in round 5. But they were close by and we were all bantering. Sure. I had plenty of time to waste in round 5. So, yes. So look at Jordan's secondary points as well. He would have smashed me had he got one more. An extra 3,000 secondary points.
He got the 4 wins as well. So.
And he got the 4 wins, yeah.
That big 20 at the end.
It was all on the 20, yeah.
So,
amazing to get top 10.
Yeah, we were chuffed to bits, I think, and we were
really good.
Regardless of what actually happened and stuff. So yeah,
well done to Tanker as well for winning, and Mark and Guillaume for
big props. I think the Guillaume Ed thing was literally down to UVPs as well. So. That was, and I know they had a bit, but they hugged it out as well because I think it was like down to a last turn charge somewhere. Someone got 1 tournament point or something like that.
Sure.
But yeah, Tanker Mark again with a solid performance at a tournament. He seems to be a staple now for.
Well, Highborn Elves OP, really.
Well, this is it. And Guillaume as well taking the 3rd place.
2 Sylvans in the top 10. That's nice.
Yeah,
interesting. Obviously, one of them being
Lots
Josh,
of
who is
elves as well. You've got
your pro.
Dreads, Highborns, and 2 Sylvans, 4 out of the top 6. So,
Yeah.
I mean, make of it what you will. I don't know.
Indeed.
They're all very good players, apart from possibly us. So
yeah, I mean, I know there was a bit of a I know there was a bit of a comment about orcs and goblins aren't as need of a new book as people think, because 2 of them finished in the top 10 at Art of War. To which point, people actually asked me and Jordan to make comments on what we thought about, are orcs actually stronger than people think? And I think I'm not sure if Jordan actually managed to get a chance to reply to it, but I said basically, I everything just kind of worked out nicely for me. So I don't know the big picture. I don't feel qualified enough to say in regards to are they actually stronger than people think. I just think I played a list that I enjoyed, and it worked in a lot of places, and that was enough for me. So the bigger picture, the bigger argument, I wasn't really. I stood on the fence. But yeah, I'm very happy with where we both finished, and both best in race. It was really nice.
Yes,
So yeah, really cool.
That kind of wraps it up for this batrep. We hope you enjoyed the batrep.
The combined one.
Probably do another video on Art of War just to sum up without battles to not confuse us, distract us, I guess. So we can properly talk about the tournament review as a whole.
And our lists and how they got on and stuff like that.
Yeah. There is, if you'd like to, have a look at the hobby show from February. That was a bit of a wrap-up of the hobby side of Art of War. Which was really cool. So that was... go check out that if you want it from that side. For example, some of Shane's stuff's on there. David as well is on there as well.
Kev as well,
obviously, because he's
all the usual suspects.
Yeah, so
amazing.
Yeah, so that's all there for everyone to find out. But yeah, a good tournament, and as you say, best of race in both. So happy days.
Really happy. Our crowning achievement, I think, so far.
I'm quite pleased in a way, sentimentally, that it's at Art of War as well.
Massively. It's where our heart is. So. Great.
But yeah, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed. Do put lots of comments on both. I mean, this batrep as a single thing, but also tactics wise for both battles. Army list.
Do you think I shouldn't have had a 20?
Yes.
Could Mo have fought back a little bit, maybe? I'd be interested.
Also, I guess with the fact that obviously this comes, the updates keep coming, left, right, and centre for updates and things. Post updates, do you think the lists will change so much? For example, the KOE will.
Divine Judgment's gone.
Divine Judgment's gone. The Penitent Knights are now not fearless, and so that's a biggie. But is there anything you would change from the list? Anything that you guys watching would say hasn't worked? Don't say Trebs.
Do say Trebs.
Oh my god, I'm going to get so much Treb hate, I bet. But yes,
well deserved.
And from the Orcs and Goblins point of view, is there anything? How do you feel like the objective project worked?
That's it. I mean, I'll talk more about that in the follow-up video, I imagine. But yeah, it was a resounding success. As far as I was concerned. Check
out the review video when it comes out. Check out the hobby review video. Like, share, subscribe. Patreon. If you're
thanks to our current Patreons, of course.
And I hope you've noticed that the Patreons have been going up at the start and end of all our videos as well. So if you want to be mentioned, then grab on that. Like I said, now that Art of War is over as well, we'll probably be looking at getting the Patreon a bit more involved in terms of content-wise, and some little things like naming characters and units and things, polls and stuff like that as well. So if you want to get in on that, we can. Check it out. All the links are in the descriptions for us from the forum, Facebook, Twitter, and all that jazz.
Great. Looking forward to it already.
Me too. But until then, see you later.